Are there any myths about cat behavior that you'd like to debunk?
Well, there's so many, so that would be almost be like a separate podcast, but a couple. There's this, widespread belief that dogs are more social with people than cats. And there's a recent study, really interesting. They didn't study the cats and the dogs in terms of the type of affiliative behavior they were engaging in. Dogs are very effusive, right? Cats are much more subtle, much more restrained. So they didn't measure how the cat and the dog interacted with the people. They simply measured the amount of time the cats and the dogs wanted to be with the people. And they discovered that on balance, it was exactly equal. Mind you, some cats, some dogs spend all their time with you. Some spend a lot, some spend not very much, but averaged altogether, it turned out to be the same. So it's just that cats are more subtle in the way in which they show their affection or their attention, and dogs are more demonstrative.
And you really have to know.
That's one myth.
Okay, continue, yes.
Yeah, sure. So there's a myth that cats aren't social with each other, which they absolutely can be. We've talked about that a little bit. There's a myth that cats don't require much social interaction with people. It's completely untrue. They are very focused on us. Cat people know that they have this deep communication with their cats, and that's a big deal. They're not low maintenance animals. People think, oh, you just put food down, litter box, scoop once a day, and you're done. Also not true. There's a myth that cats can't be trained. Well, just go to YouTube and look up circuses, right? And you'll see that they can. But also clicker training, as we talked about, is absolutely doable for cats. It's the same really between cats and dogs. And if you go to YouTube, you can also see great videos of cats ringing bells for food, like the bellhop bell at a hotel in the old days, right? They go ding, 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 ding. There's a great one. I use it in my webinar of not only are the cats ringing the bells for the food, but the one cat rings the other cat's bell to get the food, right? And then there's the idea that cats are unlucky. It's all started with Pope Gregory the Ninth in the 1200s AD. He made this kind of his speech, a document where he was really directing it apparently towards this village where there was a cult. But it spread all through Europe that cats are bad, black cats in particular, and it resulted in, killing of lots of cats. Myth about pregnant women should avoid cats because of toxoplasmosis. The parasite, the oocyst, it goes through your mouth. It's not airborne. You have to basically get it in through a cut or through your mouth. So wear gloves and you're okay, or have your partner clean the litter. There's nothing bad can happen. You're more at risk of getting that illness, which transmits to the unborn child, right, which is really serious, through unpasteurized cheese, gardening in your garden. So that's a myth. Cats are nocturnal, not true. They're crepuscular, meaning most active during dawn and dusk. Guess what? That's when their food source is available. Mice and birds are all waking up or active at those times of the day. They're also, just for the record, polyphasic in their sleeping, which means they take lots of naps.
Yes.
The myth cats always land on their feet. Yes, they have a self-righting mechanism if they're falling, but landing on your feet doesn't help if you're falling from 10 floors above. And I know that we get high-rise syndrome cats at ACC every week. And then there's the myth that only male cats spray. Yes, it's more common in unneutered male cats, but unspayed females can spray as well. And then lastly, and this is not an exhaustive list, and I realize we've already hit tomorrow, but cats purr only when they're happy or content. Not true. They can purr when they're sick or stressed. So there's a list of about 10 or 12 things.
I'm obsessed with this list. You could make this a book. You could make this your own podcast. Like, this is really fascinating. Even though I am a cat person, I work in animal welfare, I do know a lot of these. I still find the facts and the tidbits of like where certain myths came from fascinating. And I still in my head think cats are nocturnal. But when you said that, I'm like, yes, I've heard this before, dawn and dusk. That makes sense.